It's a great day. My name is Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to inspire, our mission is to empower, and our mission is to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Jesse Cruz. He's in the building. And he'll be talking about how to be a speaker. And more importantly, how you can be in the speaking business. Jesse, how are you, man?
I'm blessed by the best, my man. How are you?
Good. It is an honor and a privilege, man. I couldn't wait for this particular interview. This is a big hot topic, like how to be a speaker. Now, before we get into how to be a speaker, the number one question people always ask is, well, people have a fear of public speaking. Take a moment, if you can, and kind of share why do people have a fear of public speaking when they post every day on social media? They're showing videos every day on social media. So why are people still afraid of public speaking these days?
So, the number one fear is public speaking. But what I've learned is that's not all the way true. What I mean by that is public speaking is not really the fear, it's the fear of their opinion about your public speaking. That is the actual fear. And so, because we have a society where we want to always look the best, be the best, do the best, if we happen to speak in front of people and we mess up, we feel we will be criticized and judged and rejected. And so, that's why there's this constant fear of public speaking, because it's the opinions that we can generate to other people because we always want to have perfection. See, on social media, you can have time to, put on the filter, make everything look good. You can write the post and then delete it and go back and edit it. But when you're speaking live in real time, it's a one shot deal. And so it can put a lot of pressure on people. But I feel like when you're fully convicted of what you truly believe in and what you want to speak about, then you will be okay with, perhaps if there is some criticism, that's okay. But you're not doing it for that. You're doing it to speak, to inspire and empower, just like on this show, to serve the people that you're called to serve at the highest level. Sometimes it'll go well and sometimes maybe it won't, but the bottom line is you still have to speak because people need your message.
I love it. Now we have two type of folks that are watching. Like I'm sure we have a number of folks who are dualpreneurs. They work a full time job. They're a full time entrepreneur, and they're interested in speaking for their business. So can you take a moment and break down the benefits of someone who might not see themselves as a, I don't know, NSA speaker, but they still got to speak for their business. They speak for what they believe in. They got to speak up at the office, so they're still speaking. Take a moment and share what are some of the benefits that someone can garner from understanding how to be a speaker on behalf of their business.
One of the best things about being a speaker is the opportunities it provides. And so it gives you authority, right? Because you're the one speaking on stage, you're in the front of the room. So people are looking to you as the person to lead them. It gives you credibility, so it can build trust because you're establishing your expertise as well and that you know what you're talking about. And then also, it can put you in relationships with people you never would have met without it. And so I've met some of the greatest people in the world from speaking. And so if you want to grow your business, speaking, learning the skill of public speaking is one of the most profitable skills any professional can learn to grow their business or advance in their profession.
You're talking about learning the skill of public speaking. And I know you might have been prepared to do this, but ladies and gentlemen, he said I can ask any question I want. Isn't that kind of cool? They might be wondering, man, Jesse, if you could share with me that I want to speak on behalf of my business. If you had to say, hey, here are one, two, or three things that I can do to improve my speaking skills, what would you suggest to me, the person that's watching now?
Well, if you want to get better at public speaking, first I call this the PAW method, PAW. P, know the problem that you solve. If you don't know a problem that you solve, it can be very difficult to be clear in what you want to speak on. So that's the first thing. Get clarity on the problem that you want to solve in the world, because every speech should be designed to solve a particular problem. Which brings me to the next part. The A is the audience that you serve. Who are the people You were assigned to help. And then lastly, because a lot of times we get caught up in our mind about how we're going to speak, we can get so consumed with the how and we forget about the W, which is the why. So when you're feeling discouraged and you don't know what to do, a why will inspire you to figure out the how. A lot of times people get so caught up in the how and they forget the why. And if you always remember the why, you will figure out how.
You may be curious and like, wow, Shay, who is this guy? What's his backstory? We're going to get into his backstory in a minute, but let's just ask him the questions on all your minds right now, which is, wow, what is Jesse's big why? Why is he out here helping folks become a speaker? He could be doing a lot of other things with his life, but this is what he is desired to do. So before we get into your backstory and who you are and how great you are, why do you do this, man? You don't have to be right now on this podcast sharing some of your best ideas on how people could be a speaker. You could make them buy a book or go to a class. So what's your big why these days, man?
I can think of a moment in my life when I knew I had greater potential. I knew I could help more people, and I held back and I played it safe. And I stayed in what I call the death zone, aka the comfort zone, because that's where your dreams go to die, is when you stay comfortable. And I realized that I wanted to make a difference in the world, but I would always hold back. And I got to this breaking point. I was like, I can't live like this. If I'm going to tell people to live their life on purpose, live up to their potential, be empowering, be inspiring, be impactful, but I'm not doing it myself to my highest capacity, then I'm just being a hypocrite and I'm a liar. And I didn't want to live like that. And if I'm going to tell people that this is the right way to live and I'm not doing it myself, I had to make a real big adjustment in my life and realize no, that everyone has a message worth sharing. It's just, do you have the courage to share it? And I was tired of being the mediocre many and wanted to be part of the fantastic few. And I decided that from this day forward, I'm no longer going to hide my light and cast this vision of what I want and then not do anything about it. And so that's for me, that's my why, is about how I can be that example to my wife, be that example to my children, be that example to friends and family and my community members of the importance of staying true to the calling that we have. Because I truly believe part of everyone's calling, no matter what profession you're in, is to communicate your message with confidence and clarity to connect with people.
Says so well, man. So that leads us to the question that I know you was probably waiting on, and the audience is sitting back because they're like, "Shay, I didn't get a chance to read his bio. I didn't get a chance to Google the guy. I'm just here. I'm glad I'm here." And you always have some awesome guests, and he's another awesome guest is on the side. So, what's his backstory? Who is he? Take a moment if you can and kind of walk us through so the audience has an idea on who you are, man.
Yeah, I'm a man of faith. I'm a husband. I'm a father, U.S. Army veteran. And what led me to this point, I was doing youth work for 13 years. And I had just reached this point where I was telling my wife, I have this dream that I'm going to impact lives all over the world. I didn't know how, I had no clue, but I just knew that's what I was called to do. And I remember looking to hire my first coach and realizing that I didn't have the money, and I knew that this person would be the one to help guide me to the outcome. And I remember sitting at our dining room table and I looked at my wife and I said, I have to talk to you. She's like, what's going on? I said, I'm sorry, but we have no money. And I was going to invest in this coach, but we need groceries. We need gas in the car. We got bills to pay. And today I have to quit on my dream. I'm just not cut out for this life and I'm sorry. And I remember how humiliated I felt in that moment. And I just started crying. And as I was crying, my wife just sat there quietly. And then she finally looks at me and says, you know what, Jesse? I'm not going to let you give up on this dream. We're going to figure this out. We will get the money. We will make the time. and we'll have the right people in our lives, and this is all going to work out. And I just wiped the tears from my eyes and said, you know what? You're right. We'll figure it out. And I still didn't know if we would or not. But we've been blessed enough to be able to say this day, it all worked out.
Wow. Thanks so much for sharing, man. And not only worked out, you're doing it. And as you're being transparent, that leads to the other side of the equation. I mentioned that there was two groups of folks. There's some group of folks that are here that just want to speak on behalf of their business or behalf of a cause that they believe in. And you address that. Then there's another group. They're like, man, I like what Jesse's doing. I want to speak and get paid, okay, or for the value they deliver. I'll say it like that to the audience. So my question to you on the speaking side of the business, if someone wants to be in that business, want to get paid to be a speaker, what's one, two, or three things? I know these are normally some secrets you keep behind a black curtain somewhere, but hopefully you're going to pull back that curtain and let us peek behind there. But here's the question. What are maybe three things that someone could do to start earning money as a speaker? And maybe it's the same thing as Palm. I don't know, but I'll be here listening.
Absolutely. So, there's a few key things. Is one, you want to just put in reps. And so, a lot of times when people are trying to get into speaking, they complicate that. Oh, I don't have the right connections. I don't have this. I don't have that. And there's a lot of, they call them reasons. I call them excuses as to why they cannot be successful. And I would say the first thing you could quite literally do is start speaking on your phone. Take out your phone, hit the record button, go to social media, do a live video, a pre-recorded video, just start speaking. Like, that's going to be the first thing, because you got to be able to get comfortable being uncomfortable, whether that's in person or virtual. And because of technology, we're blessed with an opportunity to be able to create a stage anywhere in the world with the internet and social media. And so that's a great place to start. Now, if you want to become more successful, you follow that method I mentioned earlier, the problem that you solve, the audience to serve, and why you do this. And in addition to that, you want to have something to sell. Have a product, have a service. Two things at least that you can sell. One at the very minimum, but I would say at least two: some sort of product that you can offer and some sort of service. And you'll be amazed at how much more impact and income that you can make once you have learned the skill of public speaking and then attach products and services that you can sell from your speaking.
You went advanced on them. I love that, by the way. You went advanced. You said, hey, once you learn how to speak, you need a product. Now, somebody might be thinking, but am I the product? Like, are they hiring me? Take a moment, unpack that if you would. And ladies and gentlemen, if it's a little over your head, just give them a minute or two, okay? Because some of you are like, product. What does he mean by product? Or I don't have a book. Okay, I don't have a course. I don't know what he means either. So we'll find out. Maybe he does mean that. So here's the question: when you said have a product, for those folks that want to get paid and be in the business of making money as a speaker, can you unpack that for those folks that are listening? By the way.
Yeah, so it's a couple things. So first and foremost, you are the product because you are the person. The product could be your speech, essentially. However, if you do not have a book, or you do not have a course, or you do not have something to sell, my encouragement is that you take time to create it. This does not take years of education. It does not take several months. You can quite literally record something on a Zoom. We can make it simple, a 1 hour recording, or you're doing like a master class and you could sell that for $97, right? That could be something that you sell in addition to your speaking. And that could be a product that you sell right online. And so you can have a variety of different products. When I'm coaching my clients, I encourage them to have a book. Not all of them do. I encourage them to have an online course. Not all of them do, right? But it's good to have them, and also workshops that they can sell virtually that they run once a month. Those are different strategies that you can do consistently throughout the year to add more revenue to your speaking.
And we talked about the course, talked about once a month. You talked about get going. One of the things I noticed that that I'm hearing here, and it's really encouraging me, is you're saying you don't have to get it right. You just have to get it going. Another unfair question, but ladies and gentlemen, again, I can ask any questions. Take a moment, talk about the ability to be able to take action when you're fearful. because every time I hear you say something, I like it. You're like, you know what? You can be fearful, but just go do it anyway. Like take the first step. So for the perfectionist that struggles with either taking the first step or being consistent, and here's the question: how does one remain consistent? Because sometimes you get on track, then you get off track, then you get on track, then you get off track. How does Jesse remain consistent?
I'm able to remain consistent because I am not interested in the results. I'm committed to them. And so there's a difference. Like some people are curious about success, and some people are serious about success. And the curious ones always talk about what it could potentially be like maybe someday in the future. Right? So I feel like a lot of it comes down to the language. I feel like people who are just curious about success, they talk with like three, I call it like the 3 different days. They talk about yesterday is the reason why they can't because something bad happened in the past, right? Or they talk about tomorrow, right? Procrastination. And then they'll talk about someday, that someday in the future down the road, once I graduate, once I get out of debt, once I get married, once I have children, once the children are moved out the house, once I have grandchildren, once I move. And so they keep pushing back the date, right? The difference is that people who are not successful, they talk about those 3 different days. They talk about their yesterdays, they talk about maybe a little bit about tomorrow, and then they talk about someday. When successful people, what they do is they literally only focus on one day and one day only, and that's today. Like that's the only day they focus on the next right step to take. And how to stay committed to that is understanding your mission. If you have a why that is powerful, a why that'll make you cry, a why that'll give you the courage to keep going when you feel like giving up, you can keep going, but people don't attach their whys to their mission, and so they can lose that momentum and then not have the commitment and then feel discouraged and they don't have the consistency. If you want to stay committed, it's understanding your mission and your why.
Said so well. It leads us to a segment that we have. You talk about your big why. And the segment, Jesse, is called Today is My January 1st. Now, for those folks who tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you wait for this one moment. That moment you can yell those words. It's okay to yell those words. Today is my January 1st. And for all the new folks, welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show. You're hearing this for the very first time. You might be wondering, what is he talking about? Today is my January 1st is our personal mantra here. It represents a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means our past, as he just talked about. No matter how dark and gloomy that past is or how bright and sunny that past has been, the past no longer equals the future. So my question to Jesse on the other side is really 2 parts. Number 1, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? And number 2, what was another time in your life where there was a setback, man? There was a challenge. And how did you bounce back from it?
So when I hear the phrase January 1st, I'm going to give 2 answers to that question, if that's okay.
Yes, go ahead.
So the first thing that comes to mind when I hear January 1st, it is an opportunity for a new beginning. It is an opportunity for a fresh start. And I feel like that can be a beautiful thing. On the opposite end of the spectrum, when I hear January 1st, I hear a lot of procrastination in that statement. Because, especially in the personal development space, I believe that waiting till January 1st is one of the most damaging things a person can do in their life. Because they will go an entire year doing the wrong thing, building the wrong habits, hanging with the wrong places, not investing in themselves properly. And then right near the end of December, they start thinking about January and how they want things to change. And for me, it's like, how about we just start January 1st a little bit earlier? And that's my encouragement to people. Like, January 1st does not necessarily have to be January. What if I told you could have a January 1st every month? What if you could have it every week? I believe if we get to live another day, we get to have a January 1st every day of our lives. And that is my encouragement to people.
That's right. Today is indeed your January 1st. You know, we have time, which we do have a few minutes here on these calls. I like to ask a question, which is a little unfair, but the question really is, what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? That you like to share with the audience? And I like to frame it for the audience so they're kind of clear that you probably have read more books than you can recall these days, I'm sure. You've had so many mentors along this journey of life, unless you got here by yourself. And I don't know how many hours of videos I listen to anymore. It's well over 100,000 these days. So I'm not asking you to come down off the mountain with the 10 Commandments or anything, but what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given that you want to share with us, the audience, and why?
Man, that is such a good question because there's so much to pick from as far as advice goes. I will say this is take advice from people who have a gold medal in the sport that you're playing.
Good, good.
And the problem is most people value the opinions of what I call keyboard warriors, armchair heroes, and people that's been sitting on the sideline their entire life. They ain't done nothing. And because the bottom line is, you're not going to get criticized typically by people doing more than you. You only typically get criticized by people doing less. And if you can remember, the criticisms usually come from people doing less. It won't feel discouraging because the people who are gold medalists, the people who are the best and the top of their game, they literally don't have time to criticize you because they're so focused on their mission and their goal that they know by draining, it would be draining their energy to stop their day and to complain and criticize you. And so understand that the complaints are always something that comes from someone who is beneath you, not above you.
Said so well. What do you enjoy most about what you're doing these days, man? You seem to be having fun. You light up when you talk about how to be a speaker and when you're encouraging and empowering people. What do you enjoy most about what you're doing these days?
Man, it's so much, but we just got back. We just had a speakers retreat in Iceland. We got back this month. And so, bring my wife, my kids, my family. I get paid to travel the world with my wife and my children. Right? That's a blessing. And I'm thankful for it. And I'll take it for granted. And being able to bring my family around the world and grow my business and serve clients at the same time. And for the first time in my life, realizing that now I don't have to pick between growing my business and spending time with my family, that I found a way to do them both at the same time. And that's what excites me.
What do you do for fun when you're not out saving the world, man? When you're not spending time with your family, like what do you do for fun these days?
Uh, for fun, I like to read. I like to write. Those are things I like to
And if you say
exercise.
read, you can't leave us hanging on read and not tell us one of the books you read recently. We're all like, he likes to read. What's something he's read recently that's really like top of mind to him, by the way?
One of the greatest books. This is a must read, especially if you're an entrepreneur, right? It's called The Big Leap by
The
Gay
Big Leap?
Hendrick. Yes.
I gotta
You
check that
read
out. I
that
haven't read
book,
that.
it will change your life if you apply what that book says. It is mind blowing.
Ladies and gentlemen, write down the big leap. We learn something every single day. You saw the light. He said, the big leap. He didn't think about it. He was like, nah, the big leap. How long ago did you read the book? Have you read it several times or just once?
I've read it one time, but I'm thinking about going back because it was so rich in the content. And I'm like, I might have to reread. And it was great. I mean, I absolutely loved it.
Wow, man, that's super amazing. Well, as we come down the home stretch, I wish we could spend a lot more time together. Two-part question. One, what type of clients is your firm looking to work with these days, if any? I'm not sure if you're taking on any clients. And number two, how can folks best connect with you? How can they stay in this conversation over and beyond the time that you and I have now?
Yeah, so the people we work with are entrepreneurs. These are typically going to be speakers, authors, and coaches. These are going to be professionals who want to increase their impact and income from speaking on stages, but then also creating their own stages, which is what I call the stage creation model, which is where you create and host your own live event anywhere in the world. and being able to grow your business that way. And yes, I am taking clients. I have one opening for our one-to-one right now that we do. And then also one of the best ways to connect with me is on Instagram, Jesse Cruz Speaks.
Man, let me say two things. One, thanks so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. I appreciate it, and I can't wait till we have a time to meet eye to eye one of these days.
Most definitely. We'll make it happen.
Cool beans. But thank you. Thank you for watching. We appreciate all the viewers out there. Without you, well, there is no show. So we appreciate you showing up. We appreciate you being here. It's pretty cool for those that are watching us on one of the on-demand platforms. When you hit the like button, that's kind of cool, but really hit the share button. That means a lot to us. You can share this to your community and help someone else. With that being said, I never get tired of reminding you every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that as you're watching right now, you really are an amazing and incredible individual. And that no matter what you're going through right now, that today indeed is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason alone, I believe your best is still yet to come. They haven't seen it yet. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Thanks a lot. Talk to you later, Jesse. We got it, everybody. Peace.